Welcome to my studio.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Carol Payson, Max Koch. I'm Lorenzo Scott. Hi, Max. How are you?
How's it going?
It's going all right.
I want to start off by airing a grievance.
Yeah.
So, I saw Blair Witch, which is I thought it was a sequel to the Blair Witch Project, a film I am deeply fond of. Listen, pumpkin spice is in the air. Here comes Halloween. Here comes Halloween. Now is the time. I want to see the top tier horror films. I want to go back in time to the Blair Witch Project. I think is one of the scariest films ever made.
Agreed.
And I'll tell you why.
I don't.
We'll get to you in a second. And I'll tell you why. First of all, what's happening out in the woods?
Well, Blair Witch was basically sort of this lo-fi indie film that no one really knew wasn't a documentary, it wasn't a film. When
Right.
it first came out, people thought it was real.
Right.
That was so
Half
scary
its
about
brilliance was the marketing.
it. Exactly. And now everyone knows it's just a film,
Right.
and it wasn't real.
Right.
And now all the subsequent films are going to be just, like any normal movie.
Yeah.
They winked at you and told you it wasn't real. So
Right.
that whole illusion is gone.
Right. And also the fact that I think for the first film, The Blair Witch Project, the power of that film is it depends on how fucked up you are in your imagination that you are creating the witch that is out in the woods.
Right.
She's out there, you're hearing babies cry, you're hearing leaves crunching, you're hearing trees falling, and you're shitting your pants depending on how you have manufactured this fear in your head. And it's 3 a.m. and it's freezing and these kids are terrified and they're shitting their pants. None of those powers show up in this new film. It was a catastrophic letdown.
Well, you have to buy that premise that the
Yeah.
whole thing is real. And now that you've said that, I'm not going to see it.
Dude, don't waste your time. I was hurt. I felt like someone just took a razor blade and just sliced open my throat and threw salt on it. I feel like filmmakers who I respect. I love the guy who directed this film. Adam Wingard is a really great filmmaker. He gave us a beautiful film called The Guest, which is currently on Netflix. He gave us You're Next. I thought this is going to be a guy to give us a new Blair Witch film, and it's a
Right.
sequel.
Right.
And also, you didn't know it was a Blair Witch film until San Diego Comic-Con. You thought there was a documentary called The Woods about the making of the Blair Witch,
Right.
so they kept the whole production under wraps.
Right.
And now they've given us this thing, and it's the exact same film as the first one, only you don't care about the characters, you have no emotional investment, and you're not scared for a second.
So he's turned into M. Night Shyamalan,
Ah!
where he had one great film,
Ah!
and he's hanging his hat on that, and he basically just makes the same film.
Why do they
Over and
do
over.
these things?
And
It's
no
so
one-
cynical. It's a horror film for millennials, and I don't like millennials. They're useless. Anyway, that's a grievance I wanted to air.
Who do we have here, Max?
Oh my God, my
we-
mom's in town.
What?
This is Carol Payson.
Carol Payson,
Hello, all.
our first guest on the magazine podcast. You're our first guest ever.
I'm honored.
She's something else. I
You
mean,
look honored.
Well, I was bamboozled into this.
That's the way we
I
get our
had no
guests.
fucking idea.
Yeah. No, you can't say fucking.
Okay.
Yes,
And,
yes. We encourage.
My opinion of Blair Witch?
The Blair Witch Project?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time I saw it, knew it was fake. And it was totally
You don't like horror films.
boring.
Is that you snoring because you
Yeah.
were falling asleep
Yeah.
from the Blair Witch Project?
Totally boring.
Well, you're
So-
wrong. Her opinion's wrong. She has
No,
no credibility when it comes to
it's-
horror films.
She has
It's
an,
my
it's an
opi-
opinion.
It's my opinion.
She's not allowed to have that opinion.
Of course
And
she
I
is.
didn't even
It's
know there was a.
completely incorrect.
And by
I
the
didn't-
way, you can say fucking.
Oh, and I didn't even know there was a sequel, so it's fake too, by the way.
She can have an opinion.
Max, it's fake.
She's still having a hard time.
Forget that she's your mom. And here she's our guest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, it's funny. Can we start with that? Like, okay, so my mom is amazing. She's really, really cuckoo, but what mom isn't? She's very creative and funny and hilarious. And, you know, she's a wife, she's a grandma, she's a mom not just to me, but to my sister Ashley. And she lives in Kansas. And you were born in Kansas.
That's right.
So
Kansas.
it's like you were born in Kansas, and you came full circle round back to Kansas. And we're going to get that, but we're going to kind of go through the trajectory of your life.
Yikes.
I think that would be very interesting, don't you?
I think it'd be great. I think you need some more wine.
Okay, hold on.
He's going to take a sip.
Yeah.
Plus, you know,
it's going to be big.
This isn't like Oedipal or Tony Perkinsy of me, but, you know, my mom is pretty attractive for her age. I mean, she's
beautiful.
67?
Gorgeous.
I'll be 67 soon.
Wow.
Yeah, and she has a 46-year-old fat ass for a son, but, you know, I mean, at least her daughter is very, very beautiful.
Gorgeous.
I got all the Cook genes. That's her that's her first husband's side of the family, so.
I think you got my butt, though.
Wow. I did?
Wow.
I think
Well,
you
that's
did.
a good thing.
I guess so.
Have you been checking out my hands?
It looked good yesterday in those camouflage pants.
Wow. You have a 67-year-old butt?
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so you were born in Kansas,
Right.
and then you had a mom.
Well,
and a
most
dad,
people do if I was born.
And then you had 2 little brothers.
Yes.
And one of them turns out to be an acid casualty, and the other one still is with in your area in Kansas now.
Right.
So why are you back in Kansas after all those years? What happened?
Oh, yikes. Okay. Why did I get back? Okay, here's the deal. For you, Mr. Max, we lived in Michigan,
Right.
and you, from the time you were 2, I had a mirror behind the door of his bedroom, and he had a box of hats.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he put a hat on, he was a different character. And this went on forever. And I had an opportunity to move to L.A. from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, we got to do it because this kid's insane. He's amazing. He needs to be in Los Angeles.
And at 2 years old, you knew this.
I knew this.
He was going to be
something.
I love how every time she tells this story, I get younger and younger, and now I'm
That's
down
right.
to 2.
Yeah.
2 is when you started doing that.
When you were a zygote, you were
and it
putting
never
hats on.
stopped. So when he's like about what 8, I guess it was, we had an opportunity to move to LA, so I did. Now I know nobody in Los Angeles. I'm not a stage mom. I don't do any of that. But I wanted him to have the chance, if whatever.
I was like, by the time we got to L.A., I was, what, 7 or 8?
8. I
Yeah.
think about 8. And so we got out to LA, and actually, I started taking him on auditions. I'm a nurse, so in between my jobs, I would be taking him to auditions.
Yeah, Jaws for the Revenge. I read for that. Mom drove me to that.
So he did get this one play when he was about 8 years old.
Home Life of a Buffalo.
Thank you. And fill in, because I figure out
I think I'm doing it.
I think you are.
And so every Saturday
Wait,
morning.
it was with Don Sherman's Schwab Players of Hollywood, and Don Sherman played the bartender in all of the early Rocky films. That was his
Oh,
claim to fame.
That's
see.
right. And we're
Wow.
total Rocky fans. So.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, every Saturday morning, I would have to take him to the rehearsals for this thing all weekend, and then it ran for like a couple months or something.
Yeah, it was kind of a big deal.
It
Plus, you
was.
drove me to the conservatory on Saturdays for
Right.
rehearsal, which was cruising down Sunset Boulevard. And what happened then?
Well, it's early in the morning, and we're going down the street, and there's these women hanging on these poles all the way down the street, I think.
Mom?
And they're like in, mini skirts, and
Fishnets.
platforms, fishnets, whatever. And he
Giant
goes,
hair.
Mom, what are those women doing? I said, well, honey, those are hookers.
Hookers?
What's a hooker? I said, well, men pay them for sex. What's sex? Well, we'll talk about that
I
one
wasn't
later.
that stupid. I was probably
Yeah.
beaten up by the time I was 8.
Probably,
Oh,
but
wow.
anyway, I had to play naive anyway because I didn't want to know. Mom,
Where does the penis go on
That's
a
right.
woman?
so
Can it go in her poopy hole too?
so our big game was every Saturday morning we would count how many hookers were still out there in the morning, and we would keep a tally of how many hookers. Anyway, that was his first thing that he started doing.
Yes, so it was a tremendous education for me back then.
Well-
and she was kind of a stage mom in many ways.
So you were a nurse, left nursing in Kansas to be a stage mom in Los Angeles.
No. I worked as a nurse for 35 years, but I always got jobs where I was flexible, like working in places like, Head Start, which is on a school year. So
What is Head Start?
Head Start is a program for minority children, 4 years old, who when we give them a head start in life, they have like a school that they go to, a preschool. And I was the nursing supervisor for the LA County. So I would do all their health care and make sure their dentals were good and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But they worked on a school year. So when he was when I was off during the summer, I was off with him. Vacations off. So on those during times is when I really would, do a bunch of stuff with
Right.
him. And then because I traveled around, I could like sneak out and take him to an audition or whatever. So, I always had a job where I could be really flexible with him.
But that
Yeah.
was great of you to care enough and honor his budding talents to do so.
Well,
It's a lot of work.
That's what,
It's so funny.
that's what moms do.
I give her a lot of shit, but the truth is, like, this woman has had a really rough life up until she finally got to LA and got out of situations. But, like, she didn't deserve to have, her, like, the love of her life. My father, Brian, was a
Right.
police officer, and he died before I was born. Mom's pregnant with me. He's a cop. He gets into this weird car accident out on a country road, crashes into a telephone pole, tree. We still don't know the full story of the
No,
death.
we don't.
It's very bizarre.
Was he in his police car?
no,
No.
he was.
He was just driving off duty.
What was that
and he
story,
had an
Mom? Like,
accident.
quickly, you can tell it.
Okay, really quick. Here it is. I'm 8 months pregnant. Brian's a cop in Lansing, Michigan.
Young, beautiful couple, so attractive.
22 years old.
All the hopes and dreams ahead of them.
Thanks, Jeff. So anyway, so I'm like 8 months pregnant, and he's working all day. But that was back in the 70s. So we lived in Lansing, Michigan, which is Michigan State was there, and so it was time of all the riots. All these people were, rallying against Vietnam and all that kind of stuff. So he was a riot patrol guy, and also he was on what they call the drill team, which is when. I don't know if you ever see cops that are in these masks and they have like their bar and they hold crowds back.
Baton, yeah.
So he was like doing that.
Crowd
so
control is a stressful job.
and
Yeah.
he was working like all the time. So he was working and he had a day off. So the day off, my dad says, "Why don't you come to the country club? We'll play some pool, cards, blah blah." He didn't want to leave me because I was 8 months pregnant. I go, "No, you've been working so hard. Go, go, go." Okay. So about 1 o'clock, he says, "I'm on my way home." 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, "Okay, great, whatever." I go back to sleep, kind of. So I'm laying there and I'm going, look at the clock, and it's like 3 o'clock. And I'm like, wow. So I call my mom and I said, "Mom, is Dad home?" And she says, "No, he's not home yet." And I thought, oh, well, they're still playing. Although I hadn't heard from him for a couple of hours, which was weird because I was 8 months pregnant. and he
Long
would-
1970, long before cell phones.
Right.
yeah, I mean, that kind of thing.
These are the hard lines ringing, yeah?
So anyway, hours go by. Now it's 6 a.m. I fell asleep and I woke up at 6 a.m. No Brian. And I'm like, so I decided to call the police station because sometimes he went in early and he was also going to school to be a detective. He was also getting ready to go undercover to be DEA
Wow.
at the time. So
So he was this really ambitious guy.
oh, yeah. So anyway, so I called dispatch, and I knew all the guys then. I said, "Look, Brian, did he come into work early?" The dispatcher, in his stupidness, goes, "Oh, yeah, he came in trying to cover up for Brian," which was really stupid. Meanwhile, the police guys are all trying to figure out where he is.
Right.
So I go, "Oh, okay, well, just tell him I called." 8 a.m., in walks the police chief of Lansing, Michigan, my dad, my doctor, my mother-in-law, his mom, my mom. Everybody walks in at 8 a.m. going, "He died. He was in a car crash." And literally, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it for probably a couple of months. I mean, it was
it's
just
surreal.
crazy.
It's coming out of the blue.
Right. But the thing was, here's what they thought happened. He was coming home at 1 a.m. And he was coming down a street where there was a flower shop. And in the flower shop, the woman who owned it, her name was Marcy Merningham, and she was the daughter of the mayor of Lansing, Michigan. So she was a big deal, right? And she
Right.
had a flower shop. And of course, in flower shops, they go and get all the flowers really early in the morning, which he had to pass her flower shop, and they went to school together. Marcy was kidnapped at the back about the same time. And what we think happened was Brian was on his way home in his car. He saw Marcy being abducted, probably in the back of the car.
Right.
He sees her. He starts chasing the abductor's car.
Yeah.
They're right out of the city. For whatever reason, probably because he was going high speeds, he hit a tree.
He lost control.
Hit a tree. and was killed instantly. What they found was, and I know Brian, was that his gun, concealed weapon at the time, was always locked in his holster. No one ever knew. But it was unlocked and the gun was off. So we think he had unlocked his gun, put it on his seat, was chasing these guys because he knew Marcy. She's probably in the back seat yelling for help or whatever. So 2 weeks later, Marcy was found in a ravine, dead, 2 blocks from where Brian was killed.
Wow.
So they thought there was a connection there, which that would be the only reasonable connection of why he was even out there.
It makes logical sense, but you'll
but he
never
was off.
know.
But we never, it was off duty.
It was all off duty. Yeah.
Her killer was never found. So actually, there was a show called Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
Like 10 years later or whatever, 15 years, they actually wanted to do a show because it was an unsolved mystery.
It sounds like a show.
And they really did the research, but couldn't find anything
I
about
never
it.
knew that. Never heard that story before in my life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but they couldn't find anything.
That's
And he was actually the first cop to ever die on the police force in Lansing, Michigan.
Wow.
So that was really sad, yeah.
oh.
So anyway,
Are there plaques to honor him or any kind of honoring of Brian Cook?
I don't know.
No one gave a shit.
Once I left Michigan,
You
I
just
never
tried
went.
to
I
let it
never
go
went.
and-
Yeah,
You have to move on, but it's incredibly
exactly.
sad.
We have these 16 millimeter films of the wake, and there's mom all in. It's perfect for me. It's like it's such great lore because when I tell people, they don't believe it, and then I show them, and they're like, "You're right." She's all in black, sitting in the backyard, surrounded by her girlfriends with a pregnant belly.
Yeah.
And I always had
It's like a Sopranos episode.
completely. And I always had this crazy fantasy because I was born on August 8th, 1970. Well, the Tate LaBianca murders happened over that weekend.
No. Wow.
Well, the Tate LaBianca murders happened over that weekend. And I thought, wow, what if Sharon's unborn baby, the spirit of it, soared across the United States and landed in my mom's womb? Because they died on August 8th into August 9th, 1969.
Maybe you have that baby's ass.
Yes. And I would go around telling people these things, and then I stopped for a while, but because I'm obsessed with the Manson case.
I know.
But, I mean, think about that, what Mom went through.
It's unbelievable.
Then she has to deal with me all on her own.
Well, I can see where you can make a mental switch where you can. It's so surreal and so sad that you're to survive. You put all of your energy into your baby.
Oh, absolutely.
You
But
know?
not only that, I wanted to be an interior designer,
Oh,
and I was actually, and I love animals, and
was
I was
that
actually,
before the 35 years as a nurse? I mean, was
yes.
it?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah. But interior design is kind of like not a secure position.
yeah.
So here I am. I'm going.
I mean,
oh
you
my
could have
God.
been a drummer in a rock band.
I mean, I could have, and
Yeah,
made it
that's
really big.
much more secure.
Right. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I got this little baby and everything. I got to do something where I know I would have a job. And I was actually going to be a veterinarian because I was working part-time for a vet. And one day this dog came in, he was dying, and he died and whatever. And the people came in crying, and I'm bawling. And then I told him, I said, well, I think I'm going to be a vet. And he goes, I don't think you'd be a very good vet. You're too emotional.
Yeah.
He says, but I had all the sciences, and when I went back to school, and I said, well, he says, well, why don't you be a nurse? And I'm going, I can't handle animals. How am I going to handle people? But there's all different aspects of nursing that you can get into. But I felt like I needed to do something where I knew I would always have a job to take care of my kid. So I became a nurse.
Okay.
So immediately I went to school, worked part-time, took care of him, and became an RN.
Right.
Wow.
And so I'm born. I mean, she's got to be out of her mind with grief.
Right.
And it's the 2 grandmas and mom in the delivery room. And my dad's name was Brian, and he was the awesome of the Cook boys. And then I had an uncle named Jeff, who was the piece of shit of the Cook boys.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, my birth name became Jeffrey Brian Cook. I wasn't even named after my
Right.
dad. I could have been Brian Jeffrey Cook. Jeffrey is the single worst name ever created.
Okay, let me explain
Jeffrey!
how that happened.
I hated it my whole life.
But
So what
here's-
happened?
But this is what happened. You were supposed to be Michael David.
Michael
Cook.
David, that's cool.
Wow. It's like a winery.
Michael David.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. But in my state of mind, it was like I couldn't remember anything. I mean, I was just a mess.
Well, you're probably even still in shock in a way.
Exactly.
It gets buried in your
and
body.
so when they came to say, well, what are we going to name him? Of course, my mother-in-law jumps in there, and they're like, well, let's name him after Brian. And I'm like, no, I can't say that.
Yeah.
I can't say Brian.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. So they said, oh, well, we'll do Jeffrey Bryan. I'm like, whatever. I regret it now. I actually do. When he changed his name to Max. Great. Love it. Love it.
But I didn't change Cook because the name is Koch.
Right.
And that confuses a lot of people because they think it's Koch. But I had to keep my dad's
Koch.
last name.
Of course.
Yeah.
Or Cock.
But Max Koch is a great name.
Yeah, right? So that worked out.
Yeah. Except when I was in nursing school, still having Cook, my professor would go, Carol Koch here? I'm going,
Wow.
"Oh, okay.
Well, it doesn't. Maybe that's a good segue to your porn career. When you
Which was very successful, by the way.
Yeah, Carol Koch is great.
So now we're in Michigan.
Yeah.
It's the 70s, and Mom gets remarried to a guy who we won't name his name, but let's just say he turned out to be a really horrible asshole. So that takes us to California. We got to get rid of him.
So you came to California from Michigan to get rid of this guy.
No.
He came
No,
with
no, no,
us.
All right.
No.
Is that another unsolved mystery?
No,
is
it's
he
not
in a ditch somewhere?
No.
We
It's
wish.
Not, it's not an unsolved mystery. It's just, actually, he was actually a school love sweetheart, whatever.
But he swooped right in once.
Yeah.
Oh, he
The
did.
day
You
Brian
weren't
died,
even-
he called me.
You weren't even cold. He just
The
saw
day
the
Brian died,
opportunity.
and everybody in
Wow.
Lansing heard about it, he called.
That's kind of scummy.
He was a psych major in Michigan State. I know. And anyway, a couple months later, he was trying to be my therapist because he was a psych major or whatever. And, okay, great. Fast forward, we ended up being together, and we bought a farm out in Michigan, and we redid it. And we were really, and both of us were really into rehabbing houses.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in the 70s. Everybody's doing it now, but back then they weren't, because I was in interior design. I
Right.
wanted to be, so
Yeah.
that was part of my passion.
And you're
Oh.
trying to blaze a new trail anyway
Exactly,
and reinvent
and I'm
yourself.
trying to create. Yeah, exactly. So we had some really good friends. Long story short, who were moving to California to start a jewelry business. 1928 is an antique jewelry reproduction business, and the guy who owns it, his brother was starting a startup competing with him called Iberia. And so I thought, okay, this is great because I've been dreaming about going to California because of what he was doing. He was just such a little actor and so funny, and just, he needed to be out there. So it was an opportunity. So we moved to California. Then we got married. I mean, we got married just before we left because I wasn't going to leave to go to California without being married.
Right. But it's the three of you, not just the two of you.
It's just the three. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the three of us
Okay.
and our dog.
So he says, okay, Max, I can see his actor.
Oh, he was
and
totally
he was totally all for it. And
all for it.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay.
So we got out here, and unfortunately, when you're in the business and you're working down at the Mart, down in Los Angeles with all the people and all the models and all whatever, and we're in the jewelry business, all of a sudden you got to go to these parties and you have to meet people, and the cocaine came in.
Cocaine. And rock salt ice cream with the hand crank and the wooden thing
it's-
and black bottom pools.
So this is 75, roughly?
It's like Boogie
Seven-
Nights.
It's
Yeah.
like 78,
Guys
79
with
now.
firecrackers and
Exactly.
Wow.
And he started
Are you
getting-
Carol Koch at this point? Oh, okay. I guess not.
pronounced Cook.
Oh, okay.
No, now I'm a different name,
Oh,
which
okay.
we won't say. So anyway, so then we get out here, and he starts. Now I had no idea, except one thing. He was a bodybuilder, and he was taking Dianabol, which is a drug to build up your muscles, steroid, and you have rages, and so he became really great, and then a rage, and then really great, and then a rage.
Kind
He
of
was an
bipolar.
abusive cocksucker.
So then he
Really?
became abusive, which he wasn't.
Was he
before
on
that.
top of this also doing cocaine?
Yeah, and then that.
Oh,
so, but
roids
I
and
but I did not
cocaine.
know
Oh,
that
my
till
God.
afterward. All I knew was, whatever. Anyway, after he did me a couple of times and whatever.
Oh.
One night we were out in Malibu. We were at a restaurant. And
Alice's, which is no longer
Alice's. Oh, it's not there anymore. Oh, so
Long
anyway,
gone.
we were sitting at the table, and or Max interrupted, and he went over and he hit him in the stomach. You know how when you hit, you get your breath knocked out.
Yeah.
Couldn't breathe.
And I told him, "You ever hit my kid again, I will kill you."
And Max must have been what, Max? 8?
9.
9?
About 9 there.
Yeah,
9 or
he
10.
beat me up a lot.
And so at this time, you're 25? 26?
29. No,
29.
28, 27.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways,
After all she's been through,
Right.
now she's getting the shit kicked out of her.
Right.
She's getting thrown down the stairs.
And her son is getting hit by
getting
this
beat.
cocaine roidal freak.
Is this what we need?
No.
which he was not before then.
Right.
So, you have to understand that this is just crazy.
But it's all, he got into the whole LA thing.
And I saw
and
him
the-
as
and the-
dad.
right.
I didn't have a dad like
Right.
your dad.
Right.
He ain't my dad.
because he'd been with him since he was, little, a baby,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, he was the only kind of male,
Male,
role model you had.
right.
at
And
the
he was
time.
good until we went to California.
Right. Yeah, he got
Daddy,
corrupted.
why do you hit me?
Yeah.
Shut, Jeff.
But let's bring back the context. The context is you come to the 70s, everything is great, you think you're going to have a new life. Your husband gets into the LA, Hollywood, cocaine, steroid, beautiful body, beautiful people scene,
Right.
and goes crazy.
Right.
And now you're thinking, holy shit, now I have to get rid of this guy and
Exactly.
reinvent myself again and move to Arkansas.
Remember Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore,
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese's
Sure.
film? That was my mother. So by the time we get out of the Phil situation and by the time we get out of the Phil situation and Mom meets Tom Payson, your cousin Lorenzo,
Yeah.
everything changes again. But now it's Mom and I living in a bunch of really shitty apartments in Canoga Park.
Right.
And I am one of the original. In fact, I take great pride in the fact I was one of the original latchkey kids because she's working as a nurse, in a doctor's office and in a hospital. And she can't be there all the time.
Right.
I'm raising myself.
You have to grow up fast.
I mean,
Cooking for yourself. You're cleaning for yourself. You're cooking for her.
How do you feed a hungry man, a manhandler? I mean, I'm baking my own dinners with an aluminum tray.
Swansons
I'm watching Three's Company and discovering my penis.
Yeah.
Where's my mom? It's 9 p.m.
Suzanne Summers.
Joyce DeWitt.
Well, okay.
She
Both.
was
Yeah,
my
he was
girl.
more into Joyce.
At that point, you realize you're, a heterosexual.
Yes.
And you see breasts, and you've realized they're two of the
Mom?
best things ever invented.
Where's my mom?
Yes. So she's working her ass off.
Yeah.
Which I really.
I always worked 2 jobs.
Which
yeah.
right.
Well,
Like
you're
I
a
said,
great mom. I mean, you're trying to give
I
your
give you a
son
lot
the
of
best.
shit, but you were a young woman in your 20s. You had been through so much pain, so much trauma, so much craziness, and still you're working your ass off to try to provide a roof over our head.
Well, actually, we lived in right off of Topanga Canyon in Woodland Hills.
Yeah,
We bought a
lived in
house
a beautiful house
with a pool,
Before
bottom
all this
pool.
happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
before the fall.
Before,
Right.
yeah.
So it is kind of boogie nights at the
Yeah.
70s.
I mean, we
beautiful
have
house
a good place up there.
We
you
had
know?
a black bottom pool.
in the valley, and
There were parties on the weekends.
oh my God! So you're
Strange
living the
people.
life for a while.
But I give a shit. I'm getting away from him. He is not hitting my kid again. I'm out of here. I left everything. But he was stalking me. And the only way I could get out was I had a friend who worked at the doctor's office who had a van. So I had to go like at noon, go in the house, get whatever I could get, stick in that van of him and my stuff, and leave. And I left everything.
And she starts seeing a guy who
Wait, but-
delivered to the lab.
Did you just leave in the middle of the night?
In the middle of the day.
Middle of the day while he's at work
Right.
at the jewelry thing.
Right.
And you pack up and say, Max, we're out of here.
Exactly.
And you left.
Right.
What did you-
Well, what I was doing is I was stealing money and I was like hoarding money so I
Yeah.
could get an apartment and get that all set.
Still in LA though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like, from this house in Topanga Canyon, right by Topanga Canyon, into an apartment. But I had to prepare. I had to get, So I did that and got an apartment. And then in the middle of the day, because he was stalking me, in the middle of the day, just get everything and go. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I worked at a doctor's office, which was just down the hill, actually, from where we lived. And if you want to talk about Tom.
Of course, we have to bring up
Okay,
Tom.
Tom was the lab
That's
guy.
her husband now.
My
Okay.
husband now.
All right.
The last guy, the third husband.
So you get a job in a lab.
No, he was the lab. He was the lab guy who would come to the doctor's office to pick up blood and crap.
Specimens.
All right.
Specimens.
Okay. So you're working at this doctor's office, and he's the lab guy to come once a week or once every other
He,
week.
he came once a
This
day.
Once a
Gabe
day.
Kaplan-looking dude with a Jufro and a mustache.
Ah.
But
And
here's
you
the
said-
thing. I had back surgery, which was very interesting because this guy was a bodybuilder, right?
Phil, not Tom.
Phil,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, we called him by his name.
Oh, beep, beep.
No, we can reset.
Okay.
The guy we were talking about, the second husband, not Tom. So go
Right.
ahead.
So he was a bodybuilder, and one day he was lifting weights, couldn't do it, fell onto his throat, and it was starting to crush his trachea. I ran out, grabbed, 200 pounds, and lifted these weights off of him, herniating a disc in my back.
Wow.
So actually, I was in the hospital. I finally had to have surgery. Long story short, back at the doctor's office, the receptionist says, "Oh, we got a new lab guy. You should see him. He's really cute." Whatever. So anyway, I'm in the doctor's office. I happen to drop some files, and I'm bending over. Now, I've just recovered from back surgery, and in walks the lab guy, Tom. And he looks down between my legs and goes, "Hello there." And I go, "Can you help me grab those files?" He goes, "Oh, sure." And then it was like,
Love at first sight.
kind of, but, I was, for him it was, for me it was like, whatever. So I was just, anyway.
It's still that way to this day.
Every day he would
Yeah,
come
whatever.
in. And so he'd pick up the blood samples I took and all this stuff. One day, when Phil had hit me in the eye, I had a cut on my eye and I had sunglasses. And he came in and he goes, "Why do you have sunglasses on?" I go, "Oh, I was up all night." He goes, "Really?" So he takes my glasses off and goes, "Now tell me what really happened." Of course, I broke down crying, and my husband beat me and whatever. So he says, "Well, I'll be back at 5, and we're going to cross the street and we're going to have a burger and a beer."
Was it at Monty's?
It was I don't know, Topanga Canyon in Ventura.
There was a Monty's.
That's
there.
probably where it was.
Right by the you had a KFC right next to the office.
Exactly.
And then you had a
I
Monty's
remember now.
across the street. Yeah.
See, I'm old, so my brain's starting to go. Anyway, so we went across the street.
Unless it
and
was Three Brothers Barbecue, which was just up north a few blocks.
I think it was Monty's. No, it was across the street.
That's awesome.
So anyway, that was it. So now
she's in love with the nice
well,
Jewish boy.
I wasn't in love yet. It was just I was trying to get out of this situation.
Yeah, you're still technically married.
I'm technically married, and he is stalking me. I mean, I literally, one night, he was going around the doctor's office when Tom had dropped me off, and I was hiding behind the trash bins because I saw the car coming. Anyway, that went on for a while, and then we moved into our apartment, and then Tom and I started seeing each other, and he's a martial artist, and he actually worked down at the Mart and knew this guy. Actually saw him in the bathroom one day. Now he's like 6'5", and Tom's like 5'8", and he looked at this guy and said, "You ever come close to Carol, I will personally kill you." And he was just shaking in his boots.
Wow.
This guy, I mean, So anyway, that was it, and we fell in love, and he loved Jeff and just adored him.
And I was horrible to him.
Were you really?
Oh yeah.
Because now here's now like the second guy who's trying to be your father.
The second piece of shit. And,
Right.
After all that I had gone through, who
Right.
was this piece of shit?
Right.
This little monkey with an afro.
And you gave him no chance whatsoever.
No, I was horrible to him. I'm like, "You're not my dad. You're this and that." I remember one night we lived again in like one of the shittiest apartments you could imagine, and it's like a Monday night, right? And I'm in my bedroom, and Mom and Tom, well at the time, Mom and Tom. They've always been Mom and Tom. Mom has a burnt orange terry cloth dress on, and they're lying on the floor in the living room watching That's Incredible with John Davidson, Fran Tarkenton, and Kathy
I don't
Lee
remember
Crosby.
that. Jeez.
And I see Tom lift up Mom's terry cloth skirt and start to put his hand in her undies.
That one.
And I start screaming, "Ah!" Because it was just traumatic. Like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, this guy, I'm not prepared for him.
That will fuck you up.
And he's trying to be so nice to me. And he's driving me around in his shitty little gray Subaru, and he's playing me...
You shouldn't be picking around the corner and stuff like
he's
that.
playing me Moribund the Burgermeister from Peter's first album, Peter Gabriel's first record, the blue record with the windshield. And
And the rain on the windshield.
caught the chaos in the mocking square. I don't know why. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool, but I don't want to tell him it's cool, even though I think it's cool. And he's got a little koala bear clip-on stuffed animal on his visor. I'm like, I actually really like this guy, but I hate him because he's stealing my mom away from me. So, I've got fucking mommy issues.
Yeah.
Fair to say?
I think you still do.
Thank you.
No, you don't.
Working it out on the air. No, but so Tom is now in.
Yeah.
And then he moved in.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And you just still didn't give him a shot.
No, it took a really long time. It really wasn't until Ashley was born. Like, you guys got married.
Okay.
Oh, but hold on. So they do get married, but all of a sudden we are in this gigantic 400 plus Jewish family.
stop right there.
Everyone is spitting
I
bagel
have
on
to
everyone's
explain-
face.
okay.
But can I also just give Tom some credit? Because I have history with Tom. I've known Tom for a very long time. As much shit as you're giving him, he could have got defensive and said, fuck you. And
Oh, absolutely.
But he didn't.
No.
He didn't.
He
Nope.
kept saying he let you be angry. He let you go through your
Oh my
process.
God, he was
Yeah, he did.
amazing.
And he was there for you all the time.
I
He-
got up
he-
in his face,
and
and I'm
he-
like, "Fuck you, fuck you!" I'm in his face like he's a 3rd-degree black belt
And
in
he
the
ju-
martial
he just
arts.
let
of
you-
Kung
He's
Fu.
He's actually a master Mac.
and he backed off, and he ate it. He ate shit from me,
Yeah, he did.
and now
And
Can we just say
believe
good
me.
for Tom?
Oh yeah, good for Tom. Round of applause for Tom. Oh, I'm closer to him than I am to my own mother.
but here's the funny part about that. Tom is 10 years younger than I know, very Cosmo in me.
Wow.
I know.
So back before even the word cougar was invented,
Yeah.
you were
I
a
was the original.
cougar with capital
The
C.
original. Hey, I'm going to take credit
Carol
for
the
that.
Cougar.
Yeah.
I am.
Carol Cougar.
Carol Cougar.
A
Ooh.
little outdated, but okay.
Okay. So
It is better than Carol Cock. I must say. Yeah, you could be Carol Cougar.
That's
I like
true.
that. Yeah.
Okay. But coming into this family and starting to meet the family, you have to understand. Here's this young 20-year-old Jewish boy with Jewish family, very, all the holidays, pretty conservative, but cool, I think. And here's this woman who is, number one, 10 years older, in the middle of a divorce, not Jewish, with a 9-year-old kid. Not so cool.
So they loved you.
I didn't think so, but let me tell you, here was my saving grace. I was an RN. Because I was an RN, how bad could I be, really? But no, they all took me in with loving arms, and we're like Jewish through osmosis, I guess it is.
Yeah.
And
So you're an honorary Jew.
and we're honorary.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. That's good.
I always say sub-Jew for myself.
sub-Jew.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause it could be taken different ways.
But yeah,
Sub-Jew.
I'm like, ew, I'm into Jewish people. Who are these people? Like, and then I understood that it's a whole culture and it's a whole thing and it's like this family.
And you really got into it. You
I
love the
did.
family. It was
loved-
the family stuff.
I
mean,
never had family like this.
And
before.
he needed it, and they
Yeah.
just embraced him. They got him, which was really amazing.
And
The
they were
sense of humor.
entertained by you?
And for
Yeah.
anybody to get my son is like, to me, awesome.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
If they can get Jeff right off the bat, they are awesome people.
Still don't know what that means. All right, so
Yes,
they
you
took
do.
you in. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't really know what you're talking about there. But
They weren't critical of you.
okay,
They took you
because
for
what?
who
I
you
was-
were. Because
what does that mean? Who was I?
because you were this certifiable
What?
crazy kid.
Crazy? Me? Most normal of all of you.
Exactly.
Probably.
I don't think so. But anyway, accepted him for whatever.
For being incredibly weird and a freak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah. But in a family, most families are filled with weirdos and freaks. So the weirdos and freaks
Well, they
of the
didn't think
family.
they were, but I guess-
Well, the weirdos and freaks are going to latch onto him and go, oh, okay, you're one of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We
I-
accept him, one of us. Google gobble,
Dun, dun, dun,
Google
dun.
gobble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was that.
Freaks, Todd Browning, 1931.
And so we've been together, God, I don't even know how long.
You and Tom.
35. 40.
And
That's
then
true.
and then something crazy happened. After 15 years of just having it be mom and me, and then it was mom, me, and Tom, suddenly there was someone else in the family.
Well, that was weird because I wasn't supposed to have any more kids. Long story, don't need to know it. All of a sudden, Jeff's almost 16, and I get pregnant with Tom. And because, he's 10 years younger, and, he kind of like to have a kid of his own. I
Well,
mean,
it's kung fu sperm. It is going to impregnate the
There you go.
unimpregnable.
But it was
What-
kung fu coming inside my mouth.
So anyway, got pregnant, and we had a girl, Ashley, and Jeff absolutely adored her.
Yeah, I was like, I am going to hate this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to take a knife and start stabbing my mom's pregnant belly. No, I never did.
Cutest
But-
thing you've ever seen.
Oh my God, she instantly melted my heart.
He did. He would feed her and change her diapers and bathe her.
Oh, that
He
kid
always
had some
called her a
boom-booms.
chick magnet, so he could take her out in the stroller,
Yeah.
and women were like, "Come over,
Yeah.
hey."
Yeah, so
who's-
you were
such a
using
cute
people even
little-
back then.
Oh,
Yeah, he exactly
this is my
was.
baby sister.
Yeah, that
Get
was
laid.
his in.
Yeah, it helped. It really did help.
Yeah, I got
Pick her up from daycare.
I,
I
want
mean,
to babysit your sister.
Yeah,
huh?
that's
Okay.
genius.
and
I should've
girls
got like
did.
that.
Girls came to the house to
Wow.
babysit.
I never. That never occurred to me. I should have had a small
Think about
child
it. There
when I
you
was
go.
growing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, it
Any
worked.
child. I should have
It
just been
worked.
roaming the streets.
It's not too late to get a dog. Same story.
Now she's 30 years old and has her own baby.
Yeah.
Which Jeff would tell you about, I guess. And they're as close as ever.
well, now
That's
I'm
great.
Max.
Yeah, now I'm Max.
Now we're done with Jeff.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry,
that's fine.
but that's Mom.
Of course. But the great thing is, you know, Mom and I mean, we live in separate states, and for the longest time, I was like, God, I don't have any relationship with my mother. But it wasn't until the kid was born that I think it's like I let all of that go.
Okay.
All those issues, all that neediness, all that this, all that, because I saw that finally Mom had something that made her just as happy as when Ashley was born. Because your grandson, Payson, it's like a rebirth for you.
So what you're saying is basically Ashley has created this family and
Yeah.
given them
Yeah.
a new lease on life, reason to live,
All
and
of the
you've
great
given them
things.
absolutely
Nothing.
nothing.
You're so full of shit.
I've given them nothing.
But let me ask you something. We have this whole process now. We're at this point where we're current with the grandkids. Now that you see Max, voiceover actor, on-screen actor, has other podcasts, has a ton of wonderful videos on YouTube that people can go check out. You're proud of him.
Every person I talk to, for instance, coming out here on the plane, the people sitting next to me both have his website. I mean, every person I talk to.
Which
I tell.
website is that?
Just to go on YouTube and see who you
Oh, I
are,
see.
just to give you your name and know who you are.
That's cool. Thanks,
Oh,
Mom.
blah. Yeah.
I'm saying nice things
You
to
need therapy 3 times a week, I think, now.
But
No,
I think I'm sensing a little bit of healing right now.
Yeah, I think this is
know?
great.
Yeah.
I hope people listening will get the vibe of what's happening. But every family is the same. It's wonderful and it's full of shit, and you love them and you can't shoot them. And that's normally
Can't shoot them.
You can't shoot them. You want to.
You can't hit them over the head with
No,
a shovel
you
and
really
bury
can't.
them in the desert.
No.
When they
You-
don't
well,
take
you-
their medication?
You can, but you shouldn't.
Right.
And I just want to say I don't recommend any of that. So, but it's a normal family. It's just that you've had your process, the Carol Cook way, and came all the way to this point. And every family has their own little bubble and all little layers of shit, if you will. But it's amazing that both of you are still here to even have a podcast together. Because
Oh,
you guys could have hated
absolutely.
each other. You could have
Absolutely.
disowned each other. You could have said,
No,
Max,
never.
you're
Never.
fired.
Never.
You could have told me I was
Yeah.
fired.
Carol Cougar,
Fired.
you're fired. But you didn't. But today, we're all good.
So today
no,
we're all
you tell
good.
me, are we all good?
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
we're
that
good.
was years ago. I
Okay,
mean, yeah.
okay.
We're good now.
No, I feel I'm on an upswing right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You always were, but you didn't realize it.
No, I have
Ups. Everybody has ups and downs,
Self-loathing.
Jeff. Max. Everybody has ups and downs. That's the way life is.
I
So
know. Not
yeah.
this guy, not Lorenzo. He doesn't. It's all just up for him.
I doubt it.
What I have to do first? Okay, looking forward to the month of October. Well, the first thing I am doing is I'm going to swim with whale sharks. And then we get back.
Oh, I always
And
wanted
we're
to
back
do
for
that.
3 days. So I'll probably be on my reformer for 3 days that I just bought on Craigslist. And then, unfortunately, we have to go to Hawaii because my wife has to see her mother. So I'm going to be there for 8 weeks. But it's going to be fine because I'm going to be scuba diving and I mean, it is just
There's never suffering.
Trust
with this
me,
guy.
there's down moments with him.
Can I hang with that guy? That guy sounds awesome. I want to meet that guy.
Actually,
I just got a new
I want him to
iPhone.
be my friend.
Yeah, me too. That guy sounds amazing.
Sounds great.
Look at him. It's midday. He's got flip flops on, a Pink Floyd shirt.
No, just hanging in my studio
Well,
in
that's the
West
whole
LA.
point of a podcast. We could be naked. Hey, I am not wearing Ellen underwear. I'll tell you that.
That's right.
Only one of us is doing
Okay,
that.
that's it. I'm sending you a pair.
What is it
Okay.
about Ellen that you love so much?
Yeah, and about her underwear.
She's very charming. I'll give you that. But
It's
you're
true.
like
Why don't-
obsessed with her.
You love Ellen.
Okay,
What's that
ask
about?
the world. Why do you think that you can't get tickets? Hello?
Because she gives underwear away?
Well, actually, she does. But
Has she? I know why.
She
Because
does-
a bunch of frumps are sitting around bored with their lives at home. She has replaced Oprah as their messiah.
Oprah was depressing.
Ellen is their messiah. Ellen is your messiah.
I loved Oprah at the beginning, but she is controversial. She does all the depressing stuff. Ellen does
that.
nothing. Well, see,
She's all happy times.
happy times.
Okay. So she's your
And
messiah.
she
It's fair
give-
to say you would follow her
know.
to the end of the world until she's
That's
crucified.
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is she's a good person. and she gives.
I'm
a
not
lot.
saying she's not a good person.
Be kind to one another.
Oh,
So you
that's-
turn it on, and
Very
it's
positive.
this positive, happy bubble that you can be in for
Exactly
about
in
an
the
hour.
middle of the day.
Right.
which
Well,
distracts you from your pain and misery of
No,
living with
it-
Tom.
No. No. First of all, I DVR it because I can't stop in the middle of the day. That's annoying. So, but at the end of the day, I like to see who's on there. She dances every day. Twitch is her.
Which is her what?
Well, he was on Save So You Think You Can Dance. He's a really great dancer, which So You Think You Can Dance is also I do not miss an episode because I was a dancer. He is now he's a sidekick.
Mom, we don't know what you're talking about.
Everybody
A
else
dan-
does just because you don't.
A dancer from So You Think You Can Dance is
Is now the
Ellen's
sidekick.
All right,
Yeah.
you ready to wrap this up, pal?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I want you to finish your thought.
Thank you.
We'll wrap it up in a nice bow in a second.
No, so anyway, yeah, she's a positive influence on people every day. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
I like Ellen. I do. I'm just
All right.
teasing you.
Do you feel positive wearing the underwear?
I
Do you feel like it makes you a better person?
No, I feel like it's really comfortable and it's
Okay.
not going up my crack.
Okay. Well, that's good.
My
Thank
crack.
you.
Right. And don't.
They're kind of like boy shorts, so
Oh, okay. All right.
I like them better. I like them a lot better
Like a
than
tidy
Victoria.
whitey for a female.
much better than Victoria's Secret. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Thank you.
Ellen, here's to your panties.
Thank you. Hey,
That's right. Yay, Ellen pants.
I am cheering Ellen's underwear right now.
Well,
and I'm
good for
sending you
We're
both a
out.
pair. Didn't
Thank
I
you.
send you a pair? I guess
No,
not.
Mom. I don't know what I would do with those. Unless they were Ellen's actual panties, I would do something with them. And
That could be another show.
yeah, absolutely.
Why don't you do that and we'll build a
Okay.
show around it.
Okay.
We'll actually interview the panties.
Can I be the host for that one? I wanna do
Absolutely.
it. Okay.
Okay.
If she could spend all day in them and like go to yoga class and then come home and then send them to me, that'd be great.
Okay.
I saw her interview Johnny Depp. I know I like Ellen very much.
Okay.
And I'm glad she makes you happy.
That's the main thing. Ellen as a person and her undergarments make you happy.
Yes.
And that makes us happy.
And I'm not shy to improve it, to say it.
Superstar.
There you go. But anyway,
Ellen DeGeneres superstar.
13 seasons. I've been trying to get tickets.
And you can't do it.
Every week.
You'll go.
And there will be no surprise, Mom. I got him because I've tried and I can't.
Yeah.
Now that this is going to be out there, karmically, you will be getting some tickets.
Yeah.
You know. And Ellen, if you're listening, please
Ellen, please.
send us
Ellen,
some tickets.
please send me tickets.
And a couple pairs of underwear wouldn't be
It'll
bad.
make her so happy. Look, Ellen, listen to what Mom has been through in her life.
Please, Ellen.
She's a mom. She's a grandma. She needs you.
Yes.
I wear a
Now
size
she's
small.
a crazy recluse who makes arts and crafts in her
She
house and
needs
goes
your
nuts.
cone of silence, of
I
happiness
dance with
every
you
day.
every day.
Okay.
Ellen.
Yeah.
Carol, you are our first guest on this podcast. Thank you so much. Carol
Oh,
Payson.
I feel very.
I
don't
love
know if
you,
I feel
Mommy.
better. I love you, baby.
I know I tease you, but
I love you, Lorenzo. too.
I love you too,
Whoa.
Carol. Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks for listening. Hope that it was interesting. Max, thank you so much.
Don't see Blair Witch.
No.
And I know the director of the original Blair Witch, and I'm ready to say Eduardo. His name is Eduardo Sanchez, and I love him. I interviewed him for another show I did. We're Facebook friends. I just want to talk to him and know his thoughts because he was more of a executive producer consultant, but can he really stand behind what is out in theaters right now? And it only made $9 million over the weekend, so people are pretty much over the Blair Witch.
Last thought. Big move in my life. This week, I'm going on Facebook.
Woo!
Please be my friend. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Carol.
Can't wait for her comments on my stuff.
Goodbye, everybody. See you next time.
Goodbye.